obviously actually opposite to what quite a lot of people thought. I wanted to cut Scotland Road off. Because I figured, as it is such a barrier between the two sides of the road, I would deal with one and the other separately. So my building actually creates a barrier along Scotland Road, which obviously protects the environment within the building from the sound of the traffic, which is obviously what dominates that area at the moment. So then I looked at what exists in the area already, so the doctor's surgery, the church, the market. And looked at how we can move those three things forward with other activities and try and recreate some of the buzz that this area used to have. Well, I'm told used to have, obviously. Not quite that old. So I started looking into obviously how we're going to progress as a population into the future, looking at how technology is going to take over quite a lot of the things that we do. And so this is an antidote to a digital life. So there are a few things that I believe in the future we won't be able to do digitally. Okay. So a doctor will still need to diagnose you, probably face to face, because he'd like to see whatever horrible thing is going on with you. A dentist will obviously still need to do fillings, probably. A hairdresser won't be able to cut your hair down the internet. So a doctor, a dentist, a hairdresser, a nail technician, because it's always important to be able to have your nails sorted, or your toenails, and a tattoo studio, because again it's something to do with our own bodies. So looking at those things and how they probably won't be able to be digitalised, and then moving those back into this building, which is where I want people to congregate within everything. So I then reverse the kind of norm that we have, which is where these functions occur on the bottom level of the building. So you go into a shopping centre, and usually most of the time it will be commercial on the bottom and residential above. So I've in fact reversed that, and the residential actually forms the central core of the building. The bottom becomes a marketplace, and the top actually has these functions. So then I started to look at, again, in the future, building materials we use might perhaps be, they need to be obviously sustainable, so we need to be able to regenerate them. So this is where the idea that Dr. Rob was talking about bamboo. So we plant bamboo all along the canal, all over Everton Park, we plant it everywhere, right? And everyone builds their own housing with bamboo. So that creates the idea that you belong to your house, your house belongs to you, you've got a real sense of home. How now these days, we get moved around, social housing is such a kind of, it changes all the time. We move where we're told to move, whereas with an idea of you build your own home, you build your own situation, so you stay in that space. And then below that is a marketplace where you buy everything you need to do that. So that's this ground floor level. So there's 3 tiers of the building: the residential, the market space, and then the 5 functions that I talked about. So the idea is that you move through these with the same way that you would with the social condenser that the Russians came up with, interlinking the ideas. And then as I progressed, I realised that perhaps these actually needed to be merged even more, which is where the nail technician within the doctor's surgery started, and the juice spa. The idea that you don't want to wait in a waiting room anymore. We'll self-diagnose ourselves at the computers, we'll sit on the beanbags with our children and play, we'll have our nails done, we'll have a pedicure. I mean, some people might need a pedicure on the NHS anyway, so obviously some things do call for that. So it's kind of integrating those functions in a way that, we were talking about how we were sitting in the waiting room tonight waiting for this to start, and we still felt like we were in a doctor's. You get that kind of like, what's going to happen? So we still had that same feeling. So perhaps you can change the environment, change what's going on in it, and you can actually, hopefully, rid yourself of that sort of anxiety that happens when you go to the doctors. So there you go.
I'm curious about the bamboo that is a mean of using it. Is it true that you can plant it here and use it?
Absolutely, yeah. There's obviously lots of different varieties of bamboo, but there are several that were grown in this country, and they grow quite prolifically, so it's something you can actually reuse. You plant, you harvest, and then it will regrow. Within about 3 years, some of it will be available for sort of, not the biggest structural pieces, but certainly for buildings. So it's quite a genuine means for development buildings. And obviously the waste can be used as a biomass fuel, etc.
I'm interested to, it's a lovely romantic idea. I'm interested in how much you were driven by almost sort of setting your face against digital and modern technology and getting back to real things with real human beings in real places.
It's almost arts and crafts, isn't it?
Well, yes, it reminded me a little bit, well, quite a lot of that.
It's that same idea, yeah.
So you're not, that's okay.
So the intention is an antidote to a digital life. So we will still have these digital lives, we'll still have, absolutely, but we ground ourselves. This is what I wrote, so we should ground ourselves on planet Earth and find ourselves in a diverse community of free spirits and freaks, and that's the idea.
I'm mildly curious as to why you didn't bring plants into the thinking.
Oh, I did. Sorry, yeah.
Oh, I see,
Do you know
they
what?
are.
There's so many trains of thought that happen. Yes, absolutely, yes. So the idea is that
Putting the community stuff on.
absolutely, so the community stuff, and then the layers that still get the sunlight will be accounted for plants, yeah, and that feeds back into the market as well.
Fantastic. Well done.
Thank you.
Do you know whether you passed or not?
Oh, I passed, yeah, luckily, thank goodness. I didn't manage that. That is the important thing.
That is the most important thing.
Absolutely, yeah. Yes. Now I just need some employment and everything, Julie. There you go.
Excellent.
So who's